here. George Washington paid the same amount of money for a loaf of bread that Abraham Lincoln did. No inflation. So then what's Alan Greenspan talking about? You have to have 5% inflation every year. I'll get into more of that a little bit later. I want to get So we've got the United States Code, which is congressional statute, but you actually have to read it, and not all of it applies to you. The other stuff is the Uniform Commercial Code, which is private law. It's a copyright. Can you use somebody else's book without their permission? No. Can you use somebody else's law without their permission? No. How do you get permission? Become a lawyer. When you become a member of the bar, then you get permission to execute their code. Now, I've also got a site here on the internet where you can go and download the Uniform Commercial Code for $5. You can't afford not to download it. You need to have that so that you can go and reference this stuff. You start reading it, it's like they've got it in writing. And you go, I can't believe it's in print. But it is. It's law. It is a law, and you volunteer into it. How do you volunteer into the Uniform Commercial Code? Anybody spend these? Anybody recognize this? Mm-hmm. What is this?
It's a note.
It's a note. Every time you spend one of these, you are automatically de facto under Uniform Commercial Code. Now, what is common law? Common law is based on property or land. Now, when you are under property, your economy is quid pro quo. That is Latin, which means something for something. You gave me silver, which is something. I gave you a book. That's quid pro quo. If I give you, you have an apple, and I want to buy your apple, and I say, well, you know, I don't have any money on my, would you take an IOU? And you go, well, okay, yeah, you look like a good guy. And you give me the apple, and I give you the IOU. Have we completed the transaction? No. Have I given you anything? Well, nothing of any value. All I've given you is a promise to pay. So that transaction is still open. And that's what's happened when you use these notes. You are not under common law because it's not quid pro quo. You are automatically under the Uniform Commercial Code.
Do I have complete transferability of that note?
No. No, okay. Not at all.
Okay.
And we're going to get into that in a little bit more detail.
If you buy property and you say, I want your property, and they're willing to take Federal Reserve notes, isn't that?
Well, that's why you never own it.
No, but they're willing to take those.
Well, you're not giving them anything. You are not giving them anything. You cannot go into a common law court because you did not give anything of substance. When you get your manufacturer's statement of origin, I would give them silver.
But when I bought my property, and
I know what you're telling me.
Notes, they said, "Great, it's yours."
But you didn't buy your property. You didn't. You don't own it in allodial title.
You don't own it.
You don't own it.
21 silver dollars plus that one.
We'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to the Federal Reserve. I mean, that's a whole special topic. Any questions on Article 3 and the different classes of law?
I do have a question. On page 17, your definition of positive law.
Yes.
Now, when I was researching that recently, I understood positive laws to be all those laws that have been reviewed in the code, that they're as close and complete as the statute was, so they're considered positive law.
Okay.
However, not all of the code has been researched and can be said that they're complete with the statute.
Okay.
Okay? So those are not positive law.
Okay.
Didn't have anything to do with who they applied to.
Okay.
When I read this definition,
Well, I'd like to see your definition, because I'm always willing to learn. I mean, there's stuff that I can be telling you that's wrong. I'm not deliberately giving you any bad information. I just don't know everything.
well, like you have this definition here about a positive law title is one which.
Well, I've gotten that.
Is that
out
your
of,
definition? Or
I've gotten it out of Black's. The top part is Black's law. The bottom part is my interpretation
Okay.
and understanding of it.
So you're saying that you understand it that the statutes have been repealed,
No, a statute is law.
right?
Code is a reflection of the statute.
Well, that's why it's prima facie.
Right.
It's not exact.
It's not exactly. And so, whatever the code says, you got to trace that back to the actual statute.
Right.
Now, the United States Code is statute. Now, all of the titles are statute law. It's not
that way.
code.
You have to have an enabling clause and an effective date.
Right.
In positive law.
Okay? But there is a difference between, whatever the difference is, you know, there are differences, and not all of the titles apply, are like positive law. So your definition, I mean, I don't know how I would interpret that. How does that apply to
Well,
me?
like in Title 26, they have whoever, and I did read who they've empowered to go through and research this, has not gone through all of Title 26 and can say that each section accurately reflects the statute that was passed.
Now, what is the statute?
But see, when you look through the code, because it's not positive law, to really know what the law is, you have to go to the statute.
It has no enabling
I'm
statute.
asking you, what
No,
is
each-
the statute?
But sections of the code reflect statutes, different statutes.
Supposed to.
Okay,
Yes,
it's a
supposed
reflection.
to.
So,
Right.
so I've got Title 26, which is United States Code. Where do I go for the statute? What is
Well,
that?
It's a compilation of several statutes, lots of statutes that have been passed over time. They categorize all of the tax code in Title 26.
Okay.
All the different statutes over all the different years just get
Okay.
categorized in Title 26.
Well,
So you
I'll
can
research
look
that.
them up.
I'll research that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, Michael, I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to speak for Renee, but I read the same thing, and where I got the information, I was on one of the legal websites that ties into the government site where the U.S. Code is listed, and this was it contained in some general
I
information
think
on
that's
one.
probably where I read it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I read a lot of those.
It
Okay.
was on one of the general information screens that you go to before you get into, the Title 26 and Title 27.
I'll go and research that a little bit more, because I've never heard that information before. You know, most people I know don't even know that the United States Code exists.
So that's why, like when they refer to codes in some lawsuit,
Yeah.
if it's already positive law, then there's really no sense in going and looking up each individual statute.
Right.
I've already proven it's
Okay.
accurate.
I mean, that sounds plausible. I'll check into that.
Okay.
Thank you. So that was Article 3. Why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll come back and pick up with Article 4, because that's going to be a long one.